Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're trying to get a clear picture, a concise understanding of that recent Israeli airstrike.
The one on the Iranian consulate in Damascus, yeah. And what it could mean, for wider conflict.
Exactly. We've looked into a detailed narration breaking this down.
And the mission basically is to pull out the key events, get a handle on the tensions underneath.
And figure out what might happen next, all
Yes.
without getting lost in the weeds.
So the event itself, striking an Iranian consulate in Syria,
Yes.
the narration calls it stunning and highly controversial.
And for good reason, right? It wasn't just some military site.
No, it was the consulate building itself, a diplomatic facility. That's a major escalation.
And the human cost 7 Iranian officials killed.
Yes, including a very senior general, someone with significant ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard.
A really key player within Iran's structure, so definitely not a minor strike.
And Iran's reaction, swift, called it an act of war.
Not mincing words there.
Not at all. Open threats of military retaliation followed pretty quickly.
So suddenly, the whole region is kind of holding its breath.
Yeah, bracing for a potential, full-scale fight, worries about the U.S. getting involved, Syria, Lebanon, others too. You can really feel that tension.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a flashpoint, we need a bit of history. The source material calls this the latest move in a silent war. What's that about?
Well, if you zoom out, Israel fundamentally sees Iran as its biggest threat.
Because of things like Hezbollah, Iran's proxies in the region.
Exactly. That regional influence, plus, of course, its nuclear program. That's Israel's perspective.
In Iran's view.
They see Israel as the aggressor, backed by Western powers. There's a long history of proxy conflicts, covert actions. It's been simmering for decades.
And this consulate strike just brought it right out into the open.
Dramatically so.
Now, hitting a consulate specifically, the narration really stresses that these places are usually seen as off-limits.
Right.
Why is that such a big deal legally and symbolically?
It hits at a core principle of international relations, really. Embassies, consulates, they're considered sovereign territory, protected.
So attacking one is like attacking the country itself, almost.
And in a way, yes. It's a direct hit on sovereignty, on diplomacy. It risks eroding the norms that, allow countries to even talk to each other. It's dangerous precedent.
So in the immediate aftermath, what's the situation on the ground? High alert.
Absolutely. Iran's supreme leader vowed revenge. That puts everyone on edge.
And Israel.
They've stated they're ready for anything, even direct hits on Israeli territory.
So defenses are up, Iron Dome ready.
Military alerts raised, Iron Dome on high readiness, yes. And meanwhile, neighbors are pleading for everyone to just calm down.
Which leads to the huge question, what now? The analysts don't seem to agree.
No, there's a real split. Some think Iran might go for something symbolic, a response, but calculated not to start an all-out war.
Show strength, but avoid total conflict.
Right. But others are genuinely worried this is the spark, the thing that ignites a much wider regional war. It's incredibly uncertain.
And where does the U.S. fit into this? They have bases nearby, strong ties with Israel.
That's a critical piece. If Iran hits back hard against Israel, does the U.S. jump in?
Big question. And what if they don't?
Then you get questions about U.S. credibility, its commitments in the region. It's a really tough spot for Washington, a delicate balance.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up.
Yeah.
What's the core takeaway here? The big picture.
I think it's about shifting dynamics in the Middle East, this willingness to hit a diplomatic site. It suggests maybe the old rules are fraying.
A potential erosion of norms.
Exactly. And how this plays out, in the next days, weeks.
Yeah.
It could have really long-term global consequences, politically, strategically.
It really highlights the complexity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the incredibly high stakes. So for everyone listening, maybe something to think about is this. How does that principle of diplomatic immunity meant to keep communication lines open? How does that square with military moves in such a tense area?
And what happens if those norms keep getting chipped away? What does that mean for stability worldwide?
Definitely something to keep watching and thinking about from multiple angles. Thanks for diving deep with us.